Let's take a look at an example now that has a number with whole number parts and decimals. So we are asked to write 345.678 in words. So let's take a look first at their place values. So we've got our 3, 4, and our 5 to the left of the decimal point. And then we have our 6, 7, 8 in our decimal parts to the right of the decimal point. So the 3 here is in the hundreds place, and so it has a value of 300. Our 4 here is in the tens place, and so it has a value of 4 times 10 equals 40. Our 4 has a value of 40. Our 5 here is in the ones place, and it has a value of 5 times 1, or 5. Now we have a decimal point here, and moving to the right of our decimal point in the first position, we have a 6. And so the 6 is in the tenths place, which means that it has a value of 6/10. Our 7 is in the hundredths place, and it has a value of 7/100. Our 8 is in the thousandths place, and so it has a value of 8/1000. So if I am looking at this number then, I have the section here with my whole numbers to the left of the decimal point, and my numbers over here that are my decimal numbers to the right of the decimal point. And so when we're saying this number out loud, or we're writing it in words, we separate the whole number part from the decimal part using the word and. So I would read this as 345 and 678 thousandths. Because remember, on our decimal side, we read our decimal as a whole number, 678, but we focus in on the smallest place value of the decimal. So in this case, in our example, the smallest place value is our thousandths place. And so we read this part as 678 thousandths. So if I were to write this out in words, I'm going to give myself a little bit of space here. I would write this as 345 and the and represents my decimal point, 678 thousandths. So writing 345.678 or 345.678 in words looks like this: 345 and 678 thousandths. In this example, in this problem, we are given the words, and we're asked to write these words into a number. This number is going to have a whole number part, and then a decimal, and the decimal numbers to the right of the decimal point. So let's take a look. We need to write 1,060 and 9,052 ten-thousandths as a decimal, as a number here. So let's look first at the word and. We want to find the word and in our problem here, or in our sentence, and we know that that and is going to represent our decimal point. So I'm going to put a little dot there to remind myself that that and is going to separate the whole number part from the decimal part. So first we want to look at our 1060. And so we write that to the left here. It's going to be our whole number part. So 1060 as our whole number part, separated by our decimal and now let's take a look here. 9,052 10,000ths. So I need to see where my 10,000ths place is. So I come over here, my first number to the right of the decimal is my tenths place. My second number to the right of the decimal is always going to be my hundredths place. And then the third place here is my thousandths place. And my fourth number to the right of the decimal is my 10,000ths place. So I can now fill in these numbers into these spaces. And I look at my 9,052. And remember, we write the number to the right of the decimal, or we say the numbers to the right of the decimal as a whole number. And then we look at the smallest of our decimal values. And that's going to be our last number here. So I know that the 10,000ths is going to be my last number here. And I write this, or I say this, as the whole number 9,052. So if this was a whole number, I would say 9,052. Since it's to the right of my decimal point, I say 9,052 10,000ths. So this is my words, 1,060 and 9,052 10,000ths, written as a decimal, and a whole number here I have 1,060.9052. A common mistake in reading numbers is an improper use of the word and. A number like 525,672 is commonly read as 525,672. This is wrong. The only time that you should use the word and when saying a number is to represent a decimal point. So the correct reading of this number is 525,672. Now, if we had a decimal point after it, let's look at how we would read that. If we have a 0.9 added to this number, then we are going to use the word and when reading this number. So it would sound like this: 525,672 and 9/10.